Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. I can't believe it. A few days ago I was in Miami Beach, meeting Juventini of the world, but also sitting next to David Trezeguet, taking the sun. And also making an interview that is already available here on the channel. Please don't miss it. If you already watch it a second time. And now I'm back here in Belgium with a beanie, with a jacket, as it's cold. I can't wait to travel back in Italy this weekend. I will reveal you more later in the next coming days. But guys, there is something that I already can reveal you here, and I promised that I would do it. It's the new capacity of the Allianz Stadium. You know that there have been some works during the summer to add some seats. Well, we have a new number, 41,685 seats available in the stadium. Why am I telling you that? First of all, because I promised it. Second thing, because I love to give you inside information that you cannot find anywhere on Google. And thirdly, because you know that one of the dreams of the channel is being able virtually with every single member of the channel to fill every single seat of the Allianz Stadium. We have at the moment, as we speak, 40,775 Juventini of the world here subscribed. We are missing 910. How can we do it? Well, it's super easy and it's super free. It's with a like and subscribing if you didn't yet. Now, that being said in that beautiful intro, let's start speaking about our beloved Juventus that is not playing today because it's international break. Italy is playing against Moldova, and it's an interesting game, even if I will not be able to watch the entire game because we have a live here together with our friend from Turin Giants at 10 p.m. Italian time. Don't miss it. Well, it's interesting because one Juventino will start the game, and we are speaking about Andrea Cambiaso. And this time he will not play on the right side of the field like we saw him playing 3 games with Luciano Spalletti, but he will play on the left, more precisely in that 4-2-3-1 as a left back. Why is it interesting? Because Luciano Spalletti in the 3 first games since he arrived, Cremonese, Sporting and Derby della Mole, well, he didn't touch a lot in that way of playing. He tried to work on the head, he tried to work on the heart, but he couldn't do much more. Now, during international break, he's starting to work in transforming that Juve, not only anymore on the things that I already mentioned, but also in the formation. 4-2-3-1 could be the new way of playing of Juve, or a 4-3-3. But in both cases, Andrea Cambiaso could be the left back of this Juventus. Of course, waiting for Cabal, waiting for Kelly, waiting for Bremer, some defenders that we are missing at the moment. That 4-2-3-1 is interesting for Cambiaso, but that 4-3-3, if we go towards a 4-3-3, could be interesting for another player of Juve, and we're speaking about Fabio Miretti, because Spalletti has in mind to let him play as a regista, like a play. And that could be not an evolution in his role, but going back to the roots. You remember when he came from the next gen for the last 4-5 games with Max Allegri, his first time with the first team? Well, that's the role that he was playing, like we saw him a few minutes against Sporting already with Spalletti. Well, Spalletti has been charmed, has been really attracted by Fabio, and that's the new role that he's starting to work on in that 4-3-3 as a play. Then understanding if Locatelli could go back to a role that he was playing, like for example at Sassuolo as a mezzala together with Kefren Thuram, could be an evolution, but big chances for Miretti that is not injured anymore. And by the way, yesterday, where there were no training session, well, Fabio Miretti was there. You already anticipated everyone. We start again today to work with Spalletti. Well, Fabio was already there yesterday in La Continassa training. Now, that being said, what are the updates about the J Medical? Kelly could be at disposal already today. If it's not today, it's tomorrow, but Kelly could be back, and I'm super happy because it's one that honestly, if we are speaking about the top 5 of this season, is there with continuity of performances and will be important because at a certain moment we had absolutely no subs anymore with our defense. Cabal is just waiting for the green light that could arrive also in these days. For Gleison Bremer, we have to wait a bit longer. We know it, we already predicted it back then with our doctor that was here on the channel that told us before December, forget about it. The target is to play against Napoli. I would tell you, be a bit more patient. Now, that being said, today, controversy. You know, it's always controversy. With Gazzetta dello Sport, they can't wait for international break to start putting a bit of controversy. Well, if yesterday we were speaking about the problems on the contract of Kenan Yildiz, the day before it was another controversy, I already forgot which one. Well, today they go with Spalletti. Spalletti non basta. Spalletti is not enough. Yes, it's a more offensive Juve. Yes, it's a more vertical Juve, but this Juve, they can't win. They have huge, big problems to win. And it's true. 3 games, 1 victory against Cremonese, and then 2 draws in a row. It's true that we can't win at the moment. We need more victories, and I totally agree with that. But then, to immediately go after 3 games where Spalletti just jumped on a running train and saying Spalletti non basta, Spalletti is not enough, calma. And that's why you remember yesterday I gave you a top 3 of Comolli in terms of priorities that he should work on, and I gave the 2 first one, and I asked you to add the 3rd one. My 2 first one were, yes, you were working on finding the right people in the right roles for the management. Now it's time to work on the right people on the field, looking for some people with personality, with character to actually reinforce the team that we have today. Second point, and it's urgent, is stopping the voices of controversies of blah 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 about the contract of Ken Anielis. The 3rd one, I was looking at your answer, and the one answer that I really appreciated was the one of now Comolli needs to back up the coach. Super important. In terms of work, that's something that we already started to do. The contract is only 8 months with the intention to continue also with Spalletti in the future. Well, this is an important point. Backing up the coach, even after some drought, even if a loss will happen, we need to back up the coach, at least until the end of the season, and not only in press conference or pre-game press conference that he's the best coach of the world. No, we need to back him up with words, but also with facts. Super important, because I don't want today, on the 13th of November, to already start thinking about the next coach, opening the doors to next coaches that could arrive, like actually happened with Igor Tudor. You remember in the summer where Conte and Gasperini were the ideal coaches for this new Juventus that was actually the first one of Damien Comolli, where it didn't happen, and then we went and we were all watching and seeing Tudor as a C choice, which cannot happen with Luciano Spalletti. First of all, for his curriculum, for his pedigree, for the experience that he has with clubs in Italy and over the world. Well, this is something that we cannot do. If we already start saying, yeah, but Spalletti, let's see, but anyway, we go for another coach, well, that could be a problem, especially if we know that from Napoli, there are some big problems with Antonio Conte that is even at the moment as we speak in Torino. He left Napoli because I don't know what, personal problems, or I don't know, or he's tired, I don't know, but apparently he's in Torino there to rest a bit together with his family before going back to Napoli on Monday. So stop, because then we have a problem. So I totally agree with the priority of one of the GJustjuve community that said we need to back up Luciano Spalletti. 100% agree with that. That being said, other priorities, well, apparently the priority of Dusan Vlahovic is Juve, at least until the end, fino alla fine. What will be la fine? Well, the last game of this season, because that's the pact that they have together with Comolli, that we play all the games without speaking anymore about contract, about offers, about potential extension. But from the moment that we are there, at the end of this contract, at the end of this season, that's where we sit again together. Then a new world can be opened there, huh? Or Juventus will try to go with a proposal, with an offer that will probably be one that cannot even be discussed, or it's the entourage of Dusan Vlahovic that will go with the extra offer. Look, this is how low that we can be for signing with continue with Juve. Or maybe they will just shake hands and think, okay, we did the best that we could, now our roles are separating. It's a discussion that I would not love to speak about too much, but that will be spoken about. If he's doing bad or if he's doing well, this is the destiny. We'll continue to speak about Dusan Vlahovic. Now, Juventus, when I'm telling you that Comolli needs to back up the coach with words, with facts, is also looking at the Mercato. For the winter, but also for the summer. For the winter, we already know financial fair play will be a difficult one. Pay attention, don't expect crazy things, but Juve is already looking at different players. Like, for example, Maignan, the goalkeeper of Milan, the goalkeeper of l'Équipe de France, that is at the end of his contract and can join whatever team already from the month of July 2026. Well, Juventus is on the goalkeeper, at least is trying to collect some information. Let me know what you think about join or adding Maignan as a goalkeeper for this Juventus. I'm really curious to read you. Other players that Juventus is monitoring are the names of Muharemovic to start with, ex-Next Gen player, ex-captain of the Next Gen player that is collecting the MVP trophies one after the other, which Sassuolo is doing extremely well under Fabio Grosso. Well, we have 50% on the resale of Muharemovic, and that's why Juventus could potentially think about him, not for the winter, but already for the summer. Pay attention also there, a lot of competition. Muharemovic is a good player. He's a fantastic player. I would take him back. I would really take him back because after 2 years at Sassuolo, one in Serie B, one in Serie A, the maturation or actually the experience, the growth of that player is crazy, is incredible, and he could really reinforce our team. When in the past I was always saying pay attention to these young players that are arriving to Juve because you have monuments of football in front of them, Chiellini, Barzagli, Bonucci, De Ligt, Demiral. Well, now we don't have that many strong defenders anymore, and a player like Muharemovic could make immediately the difference in playing as a starter. So Muharemovic, to me, would be a big yes. Will it happen? I don't know, depend on the offer that will arrive for the player from Bosnia. And then another player that could join Spalletti, not in the winter, but in the summer, could be Lobotka. Are the talks already starting? Absolutely no. But why are we speaking about Lobotka? Because Lobotka is a player that played under Spalletti, that was actually transformed by Spalletti. Spalletti gave him a career. Spalletti gave him a name. The relationship between both of them is just great, and Spalletti is looking for a player like that to reinforce Juve. On the other side, well, the entourage of Lobotka is speaking to microphones, maybe a bit too much, saying that if they continue with Conte at Napoli, it would be extremely difficult for him to stay because it's crazy. The training sessions are crazy. The intensity that Conte is asking is crazy because the relationship with Conte after 1 year is starting to be broken for a lot of players. I heard about Spinazzola, I heard about a lot of Politano, if I'm not wrong. I heard about a lot of players that it's too much, it's enough. And that's why I'm asking you, do you really want Antonio Conte at Juve? If it's more than 1 season, also there, we need to think about it. Now, Lobotka, great player, but he's absolutely not the one that will solve our problems of aerial duels that we are losing. Look at the game against Torino, for example, which was a problem. And then we are speaking also about Bernardo Silva with Mirko Di Natale, that this morning was confirming again the name of Bernardo Silva in talks with Juve, talk that already happened. At the moment, no decision has been taken, except of the one that he doesn't want to renew with Manchester City. But pay attention to Benfica, because Benfica is a team that Bernardo Silva would love to go and end his career with. Well, if he could do a pit stop first at Juve, that could be also a player that could give something to the Juve of Spalletti. But of course, Spalletti must remain at Juve. That being said, we spoke a lot about Mercato in today's video. Let me know what you think, what you believe, what is on your wish list of the players that Juventus must monitor and take back home. Curious to read you again. Grazie, forza, Juve.